the girl was calling for some big expensive things like
lobster
I was
steak.
like, are you calling for chicken? And she calling for exactly. She calling for shrimp, right? She calling for shrimp.
Why?
And then
She
my
drop it hot on you, man.
date decide, well, she calling for shrimp, we gotta call bigger.
Right.
I want lobster.
We are in the studio, and I cannot believe that, as life would have it, I am in here with my husband. This is just amazing.
Yeah.
This is amazing. So my name is Claire Reeves, formerly Claire Haynes. Still getting accustomed to the Reeves when you've been one name your whole life. But I married this amazing man just about a year and a half ago. And you are?
My name is Fabian Reeves. Was always a Reeves.
AKA
President of the Black Knight Bikers. One of the biggest motorcycling clubs in Barbados.
Yeah. And we're here today because we just got stuff we want to talk about. We're two worlds colliding.
Yeah.
Two worlds colliding.
Two different worlds.
Completely.
Yeah, two different worlds that's coming together.
From color to where we grew up.
Lifestyle.
Yeah.
Two totally different upbringings.
Yeah, two totally different. So we have so many interesting topics that we've discussed together as a couple, that we've discussed with friends, and we just feel it's time to bring it to the world. We wanna hear opinions on controversial stuff. We want to talk about what it's like to be a biker. We want to talk about what it's like to stay fit. We want to talk about what is it like blending families. Oh my gosh.
Yep. Real things.
What it's like when Fabian just wants to like throw me out the house because I'm being a woman and I'm just being so frustrating, and I just want to choke him because he's being a man.
And you know the guys don't understand that for sure.
We want to keep it real. So we're going to be hopefully doing some podcasts once a week for now, until we build out, a solid structure. And obviously, we definitely look forward to hearing from you if you feel that there are things that need to get out there that we're not talking about. Not all topics we're going to go on, but we'll iron that out as we get there.
We pick up the most important, well, not important, but the ones that...
Things that mean something to us. Yeah. And hopefully they mean something to you.
A lot of people always questioning and asking, especially when it comes to relationship. Because one thing I could say is that being that I'm a social media junkie, it's getting a lot of trouble for that. But anyhow, I could tell you that I have a lot of feedback in terms of people just watching me and Claire, our journey and stuff, and always complimenting us and telling us how lovely a couple we are and that sort of stuff. It's like you're seeing one side, but there's a lot of work in the background that's being done that a lot of people don't realize. You understand that?
Yep.
That I guess if we could share it, right, that people could see they're not as different as us than us. You understand? Just that we have a different formula that actually works for us that maybe could work for somebody else too.
Exactly. Right? Motivating each other. We're at a really, really difficult crossroads. We hope everybody's out there is managing to get through this pandemic.
Yeah, this pandemic, but it's
not
serious.
Even the best movie script writers could have come up with this this here. So again, we want to open the floor to talk about what was it like homeschooling kids. A lot of relationships got put under serious pressure. Real pressure.
I'm telling you.
Yeah,
mentally.
This
homeschooling is another topic too as well.
Yeah, we're gonna cover on that one because I know they had some days that I just exhale. Yeah. So for today, what we want to do today is not everyone knows Fabian and myself. Hopefully we will be well known and popular. I don't even know if I really want that because that comes with a whole different bag of fish. Yep. But we're gonna pretend almost like we're at Be Social podcast studio and I've not met you for the first time. And we got some,
so we can do an interview.
Interesting questions that maybe you might ask somebody on a first date.
Let me see how you go.
So you want to go first or I go first?
You go first.
Okay.
Ladies first.
All right. So First question I'm going to ask you is, if you had enough money to follow any passion of your choice, what would you do?
That's an easy answer. Well, I would do two things. One, I would set up a restaurant where I could feed persons that can't afford it.
Okay.
Right? Because I like to see persons being pleased. Right?
Okay.
I like to see people being happy.
All right.
And I know one of the ways that I make people happy or cause that effect is my food.
Correct. That's why one of the reasons I married him.
All right. So that's one reason. One thing I would do. The other thing I would do, I would start I'll set up a whole motorcycle. I already have a riding school, right? I teach
Black Knight Riding
Black
School.
Knight Riding School, and soon to be launched Busy Bee Riding Academy for the kids. So I would set up a whole system where you got the school, you got the access to bike gear, and you have also the area where you could purchase a motorcycle after you left the school, and then also be able to have a mechanic part that I could fix.
Ooh, we better hope somebody watching don't take your plan. That sounds like a great plan.
Yeah.
All right. So that's two things.
That's the thing.
What would I do? Yes, I have two things that I would do. One, I would set up a health and wellness, a Caribbean health and wellness network. I think that we have very unique stories in our region that don't get shared enough. And actually part of what I hope to see on this platform is being able to share people's stories. I think that stories are the one truest way to help people to change when you can see yourself reflected in somebody else's journey. And I would love to do that within health and wellness, not just the fitness side, but the spiritual side, the mental side, the physical side, everything. That's one thing I would do. The second thing I would do, and for sure, if there's anybody out there that has the money to do it, feel free to take my business plan and make this part happen for sure. You don't do the network part. I want to do that part, or just bring the money to me and you can set that out together. But you could definitely. You see, kids, I would love to see a big indoor playground. Yeah, we actually kids.
Need something like that here.
There's one company that does it here. No name, the blame, the lockup. But what I have in my mind, totally different to that. And I remember I used to be a nanny in London, and I used to take the kids, the two kids that I took care of, I used to take them to this play park that was set up where like you could literally come in with your book as a parent, sit down on the opposite side and watch the entire play park in a big couch with tea and coffee and just let the kids go wild. And I feel like, yes, we have the beach here, but that gets boring doing that every single weekend, and our kids need to get active. So if there are any investors out there and you're interested in setting up one in Barbados, call me.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Also, too, especially with the whole lockdown and stuff, you don't have the kids being exposed to one another at schools where they can have fun and do different activities with one another. It's like they're always home, they're always inside, and kids need to find a way to burn that energy. So yeah, 100%. I could see that.
And I want indoor. I mean, part of it could be outdoor, but I like the idea of indoor, that weather is not prohibitive.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so you get to pick question number 2.
So let me see.
Drum roll, drum roll.
So what makes you happy?
Oh my gosh. Whew.
Except for chocolate.
I didn't say I was a nutrition coach, right? You're spilling all my secrets early, boy. What makes me happy? I love to paint. If you put a paintbrush in my hand, I will paint everywhere. I'll probably end up doing it in colors that you didn't really want. I just love to paint. I love to paint.
If you make a mistake, you paint you too.
I love to paint. I think that's probably when I'm happiest, and I am absolutely happy and peaceful when I am at the beach. Whether that is on a boat, whether that is swimming, whether that's just sitting on the sand. I lived in London for 8 years, and the beach was something that I craved with every fiber of my being.
That is equivalent to me loving to ride, taking a country ride just to feel the breeze going through my hair and stuff. That is basically equivalent to that. for me.
You think the fellas would agree with that?
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
It's just free. It's a very sensory experience.
Very, very freeing experience when you can take your bike and just do a country ride.
Don't get tied up, right? For all you interested in coming to learn how to ride a bike, I'm going to tell you all the truth about something that none of these bikers are going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you. For the first 6 months that you go on the road, it is very normal to feel as though your balls are going to give away every single time you sit on that bike for at least about 6 months. Because bike riding, you realize you're so lazy as a driver. And the things that you take for granted within the confines of a car, you feel it with everything when you're on the road. Yeah. So your nerves just, it takes a little while. But when you get it, it's amazing.
Well, you know, we have this conversation regular, as I would tell any person, being a biker makes you a better driver.
I agree with that statement. Right? And we're definitely going to do a topic about that. Yeah. And I know that the car people out there, who's some car groups, who's some bike groups that we want, but Black Knight Bikers for sure. But who are the groups we want to big up in here today?
We got to big up the Tridents.
Yeah.
The Rising Suns. You got to big up the Aliens on board. That's my boy Rat Saw them there. You got to big up 246 Bike Life. You got to big up Untouchable Empire.
Real cargo. Bajans love a car. Bajans love a car and a bike show, boy.
Yep. Then we got all the car. You got your ride crew. You got Nissan crew. You got your Subaru. You got your Toyota. You got the Kia. They got a lot of groups out there.
Correct. So you're happiest on your bike?
Yes, very, very much so.
All right. So let's get nice and juicy. What's the strangest thing a date ever did that turned you right off?
The strangest thing a date ever did is, let me see.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go first.
You look like you got to think about it. I know what you told me, but you got to decide if you're ready to share that. The ladies might get a little offended by this one, but for me, I went on a date with this Jamaican dude in London. And it was clear from the conversation that he was trying to impress. And his stories just weren't adding up. He was telling about all these different places that he traveled. But then he couldn't really name any of the places within the countries that he traveled. And then when the food came to the table, we went to an Indian restaurant. I love Indian food. And he just made a mess. A complete mess on the plate. The rice was going flying everywhere. The knives and forks were making so much noise. And I was like, oh my gosh, if I bring you home to my mom, this is not going to end well. That was the last date. What about you now?
For me, I try to think of the worst. But I honestly had not that much experiences in terms of bad dates. But if I could recall my worst experience, I know some of the worst experience I don't remember, but I would say one of my worst experience where when I took out the person and the person ended up bringing somebody else on the date. Yeah,
bringing somebody else, a man or a woman?
Another woman, another female.
Okay.
Which was, I guess, were her way of making sure that we just making sure is there stopping here, right? So, but the problem with that, I didn't mind she bringing on the other date, but then when we ordered the food,
you were expected to pay for everything.
The expectation was they supposed to pay for both, right?
Yeah, that's
really the date went sour, right? And it wasn't, it wasn't like, all right, you know, I mean, young, you want to impress a girl you got to save it their funds, right? You know what I mean? Because you're accustomed to Chevette and that's all prices. So if you're getting dinner now, the real thing, let me tell you that a whole different can of worms. You can then tell yourself, all right, let me see what on this man. You hear that game.
Did she ask you first?
You mean to go over and did?
No, with the girl.
No, she didn't ask.
You see that? I think that was a little.
That was like you showed up. She showed up with the person.
Yeah.
Before even letting me know that this is the plan. So that kind of threw me off. And then the girl was calling for some big expensive things like
lobster steak.
Like, are you calling for chicken? And she calling for she calling for shrimp, right? She calling for shrimp.
Why?
And then my date decided, well, if she calling for shrimp, we gotta call bigger.
Right.
I want lobster. And I was like, no, This can't be serious. This can't be serious.
I hope you walk with the MasterCard.
The bill came at the tree something, right? And because luckily I had my Visa card.
Right.
That not the Visa card, I had a credit card. That was the first time I had gotten a credit card. I never used it yet.
Yeah, I had to pull it this time though.
I had to use a credit card.
Right.
And after that, boy, teach me a lesson, boy. So yeah, that was my worst.
That's a tight one. That's a tight one. Next question is it you?
So, what is your idea of a romantic date?
Ooh. Well, not that I don't appreciate dinner, but I just think dinner or a food date is usually kind of typical, usually. So, one of my favorite places to go, which I think would be romantic, I absolutely love waterfalls. Given in Barbados, that may be a little difficult to do. But if I had my choice, I would love a picnic by waterfalls. And you took me on a date like that in St. Vincent, Dark View Falls.
Dark View Falls, yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I could spend a whole day.
Yeah, she's an outside kind of person.
I'd actually like to do a whole waterfall trip.
Yeah.
Like all the different waterfalls all over the world.
That's one thing that both me and Claire have in common is the fact that we love nature. We love to be involved in nature.
Get outside, man.
Yeah. You understand? We could set up a camping tent and just relax around nature and stuff.
Chill out.
That's, just taking life itself.
So I guess we got to do these springs over here.
Yeah, springs over here.
We got to go on a spring hunt. What about you? Where would you?
Well, the same thing. I actually prefer not to be in an expensive restaurant. I prefer to have if you on a beach, for instance, and just have see that when we did the date, it was the restaurant with the Lobster Alive.
Oh, Lobster Alive, yeah. Oh gosh, that
like
hurts my heart when I passed there and it's still closed.
It's still closed. That was one of my best times in terms of having a date.
Yeah.
Right. I loved.
And the food was gorgeous.
The food was good. The food was great. Yeah. So anything like that.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Let's see if we can get another juicy question. What do you like to do alone, uninterrupted?
Can't sit down there, but anyway.
James, can you censor that one, please? I knew he was gonna say that. You need to filter that one for sure. Nah. I think the fellas already know what that one's gonna be. Outside of the obvious, their husband.
Yes. So, one thing I hate to be interrupted on. I know enough men that agree with this. When I'm in the toilet. Jeez, down, brothers. I hate to be interrupted when I'm in the toilet. That's my time. You understand? That's my relaxing time.
I know I was going to have second guesses about doing a show like this. Actually, when you have kids, and I know moms can agree with this too, you feel like, okay, the bathroom is the one place that I can sit down and have a little quiet time. And as soon as you sit on the throne, Mommy. So yeah, I could kind of concur with that one as well too. What do I like to do uninterrupted? Read. I like a good book. Yeah, and I don't do too well when I'm in the middle of a really good book.
Yeah, but that's the same way with me on the movie too.
And you get interrupted for sure.
I hate to I watching a good movie and I find out this boy get this and that's and
somebody. And the best part too. The best part usually happens.
Jeez, I hate that.
All right, yeah, I got that.
So, if you were to choose out of an introvert or an omnivert.
It's omnivert? Is that ambivert?
Omnivert, sorry.
So introvert, extrovert, or an ambivert.
Right.
Actually, I didn't. The word ambivert I didn't know very well, but I guess that's a bit of both.
A bit of both.
Can we do this by percentages? I think I would say I'm an ambivert, but I'm like 70% extrovert and 30% introvert.
For me, to put it in layman terms, I like to be around people sometimes, and then I just don't want. Then sometimes I don't want to be around me at all.
Right.
So I want. Sometimes I could be a people's person, and they could have conversations, and we could lame and chill.
And other times
But the other times, just don't want to be around me. Just feel miserable with people being around me. So yeah.
Okay. Cool. Next question. What do you miss most about being a kid?
Being able to be free to do as I please and have nobody judge me for it.
You think nobody was judging you, or you just think you weren't aware of judgment?
I wasn't aware of the judgment.
Right.
It's like, all right, even now as adults, when you do stuff, people will judge you and say, you should know better. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to be able to feel that if I should know better. I just want to feel like if I should be able to be a kid and enjoy myself as a kid would.
Right.
Without any judgments being laid on it.
You know, it's interesting that in psychotherapy, one of the key tenets to healing properly is actually going back into your childhood. Because I guess that's where we got our foundation laid. And just as there are lots of really happy moments when we're kids, oftentimes there are very unhappy moments when we're kids as well. So just to kind of change the question in a bit. But I would agree with you that there is a sense of freedom which you completely take for granted when you're younger. I don't know how far back I would go, and this is not to say that I didn't have fun as being a child. I didn't particularly enjoy my teenage phase. I found it very confusing, very emotional.
But that's the thing is about going back is if you're going back with the mindset you have now, or you're going back to
right. Oh, well, that adds a different twist. If I could go back with the mindset I have now, oh gosh, for sure I would go back. But just going back fresh, I don't know that I could say that I completely enjoyed the ignorance of where I was
agree
at.
with you on that too, because some of the stuff that being that you was maturing at that stage, learning at that stage, just certain things decisions that you made.
I would go back to my early 20s.
Right.
I would definitely go back to my 20s. I feel that's where you start to stabilize as a person. But I had a pretty okay childhood. I think so.
Mine wasn't bad too. Mine wasn't bad. Honestly, my childhood now, I feel for my kids because of the childhood I had before. They can experience that now because we had a lot of
freedom.
We could do stuff. We could go places, and we had the network, the community
to look out for your children.
You understand? But now nobody's looking for nobody. Everybody
wants to be in their own.
You understand?
Yeah, this is another topic that would be really interesting to pull out. Anyhow, next question. We're gonna come back to that one.
All right. What career do you admire the most?
Well, I want to say I love Oprah Winfrey, so being a talk show host, yes. Hence, right now, exploring what that looks like. I also really admire creative people, and I suppose that's what I use to motivate me when I'm doing my own bits and pieces. I love to watch people who can just take things and make something that's completely in their head. You know, when you look at an artist and you look at their work and the intricacy of their work, or when you look at amazing buildings and you realize that is truly what makes a human being such a powerful animal, is the ability to create. So artists, but I don't just mean artists who paint, artists in their own right, songwriters, you know, how when those guys are rapping and they flow, it's like, how do you get those words strung together? It's so amazing, you know? So it's creativity. Whatever career has a lot of creativity, yes.
I would say the same for me. I do love creativity. It's nothing that I have not tried that I could think of. Mm-hmm. Cooking, building, art. I mean,
I got him painting, by the way, when we met.
Yeah, I can tell you with this story, but I was considered somewhat an artist going to school. Used to do a lot of drawings and paintings and stuff, and I had pushed all of that aside when I thought within myself that there was no future for it when I left school, because they couldn't see no way of me making any money off of it. So
And there's a big crowd now. It has been for a little while to really push the creativity.
yeah.
And I want to say that I think now that we are in such a predicament with COVID, that now more than ever before, we're going to have to get so serious about creativity in everything to get ourselves out of this mess.
Creative mind will definitely have to kick in right now because of what is going on. You can't do the norm anymore. Norm don't
What
work
the hell
anymore.
is normal?
Exactly. So
I don't even know. What makes you dislike someone?
one thing I hate, hate the strong word. One thing I dislike about persons or a person is pretending to be somebody you're not to impress. I absolutely hate that. Right? Like, for instance, you come and you hear that I's a biker, so you want to impress that you could ride. You just ride the most expensive bikes. You do this and that's and third. If I had asked you to name something on this motorcycle that
you
ride,
don't know one
you
thing.
gonna want a clue. I
Yeah.
just like people to be themselves.
You like authenticity.
Yes.
I was trying to find a word.
Yes, I like that. I like to know if people could be who they truly are.
That's a real tough one though. That's a real tough one because most of the time we wear a lot of masks.
Yep.
You know, all of us do it as well.
At some point, people like to put on this mask. Even in relationships, when we started off in a relationship. Not that we
intend to,
right.
but it does happen.
It does happen because you want to bring your best to the person that
you don't want the person seeing your shitty side.
Not so early. You don't want to run the person when they start. So that is something that a lot of persons would do or will do.
But I've learned that as I've gotten older, I actually prefer now to cut the chase. I want to see your shitty sides a lot earlier.
Yeah, you see that. Because
then I know if I can waste time with it or not.
Let me tell one of this here, no, right?
Oh, Lord.
When we started dating.
Oh, Lord.
No, since she made that comment.
Wait.
When we started dating, peoples, I was at the point in my life where I was tired of jumping from relationship to relationship and it's not working. And then after we started to find out who we are with each other, I was getting sick of the cycle where I meet you, I gotta get to know you, you gotta get to know me, then I gotta get to know your family, you gotta get to know my family, and then when we realize in the midst of all of that, we aren't compatible, right? So when I met Claire, not the first day, but when we started dating, I think about the third date it was, I told her, listen, where do you want this to go? Because I ain't about wasting no more time. If it is that we can just be fun friends, whatever, let it be that. Let me just prepare myself for it. But if it can be more than that, I want to know so I could tell you who I am. I don't want to hide nothing. I can tell you all my past, my goods, my ups, my downs,
ugly.
everything. I just want you to see if this is what you can handle. Moving forward, I have matured more, and I just want you to understand that I had a past. So this is where it is.
Yeah.
But I can tell you something now. At any day, it's not much people that can handle that truth.
Yeah.
Right? And be able to.
You gotta be able to work through it.
Exactly.
Because you will discover things about the person that are hard.
Yeah.
And I had to share a lot of painful stuff with Fabian as well too.
The truth is the sometimes just be hard. Right?
Yeah. So you prefer authenticity.
Yeah.
All right. I would say I've never done well with condescending people. And if it's ever a time that I'll get lippy, and I'm known for being lippy, as I'm sure y'all can see, I could talk your head off.
Very.
But I get lippy when I will respect a person because you're a person. And I think people are deserving of respect when we treat each other with respect. But I'm not going to just, because somebody has a title and you want to flaunt that title, or you want to flaunt whether you think you're from a higher background than somebody and you think that is a cue card to intimidate people or talk down to people. Nah, that don't work with me at all. I really, really have no time. I think in work, bosses, as an employee, you speak to your boss with respect, and at the same time, the boss treats you with respect because you are also a part of helping their company grow, right? And I think in relationships, I respect you because you're my partner, not because you're the man and you bring in more money. You respect me because I'm, the same thing in return, right? I'm your partner, not because I'm a woman and everybody's society tells you you're supposed to be on a throne and a pedestal. I just don't deal with that.
That's something not even another topic. Again.
Oi!
Oh, Lord.
Hot topic.
Again too,
I know you're itching for that money most, you know. Be social and got the edit button, so all right, how are we looking? Did I ask the last question or you did?
You answered the last question.
Okay.
So if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
That's an interesting one because the first time I ever thought about having a superpower was actually through my son. What's the name? There's a show. I don't know if it's Avatars. It's the one that has the cartoon character Raven.
Avatar, yeah.
It's Avatar. Yeah. So he came to me one day. I was having a particularly stressful day, and he's like, "Mom, I think you should become like Raven." I said, "What's Raven? Who's Raven?" He's like, "Well, she gets her superpower when she meditates." I was like, really? He said, "Yeah." He said, "Because that's how she helps to fight the bad guys, just to meditate." And I was like, "Okay." Thinking about it a little bit more, if I was to go a little deeper than that, if I was to choose a real superpower, it would be mind reading. I think that the human brain is the most fascinating thing to explore. I spend so much time reading on behavioral psychology and, within my profession as helping to motivate people, like what actually motivates us, what makes us tick, what sends us off a rocket. The old people always say there's a really thin line between sane and insane. I love understanding that stuff. So to read people's minds would be my superpower.
Mine's, which is basically, it could work hand in hand with yours, but I think mine's would be like being able to see things before it happen.
Okay, so you want to have telepathy.
Yeah.
Is it telepathy? I think so. Uh-huh.
Right. To see things before it happen.
Okay. Would you stop it?
If I could stop it, yeah.
You would?
I would.
Okay, who does that? Which cartoon character does that? So Superman in a way? No?
Who does that? I can't remember who.
I don't know who does that.
Okay. Who watched the season? No, I don't think any, as far as I can remember, does that. I've got to research that, but yeah.
Okay, we'll ask one of the kids and get back to you on that one. All right, so, juicy. Let's liven this up. If there were one thing about you that you could change, could be physical, could be a habit, whatever, what would it be?
One thing I would change, if I could change it about myself. Let me see.
And the room goes silent.
This one could be a tricky one. Yeah?
It is a tricky one.
Tricky one, why? Let me see. One thing I could change. So, I will change like my how to describe it.
See, he's trying to think through this one really hard, folks.
Yeah, I don't want.
He doesn't want that when I get home, I'd be like, "You remember when you said?"
Yeah, boy, she'll hold me on that, boy. Let me tell you, she ain't easy. So I think, being one thing that I would change with myself is being able to retain things like a little better.
Okay.
Right. I find I have problems sometimes remembering stuff like I used to growing up. Right? And
you think that's an age thing? Or do you feel that you kind of always had that?
I always had that. I think I always had that. But, as you get older, things tend to get worse.
Okay.
So I think that is one thing I would if I could have changed, I would change that.
Did it impact anything in your life?
Yeah, I actually, like, doing exams and stuff. Like, sometimes you don't come with the exam, then you remember. That was the answer you're supposed to answer, right? And I find that too, even in exams, the pressure that people will be under doing the exam, even a simple
it's
test,
crazy. Yeah,
it'll be real intimidating, right? And for some people that may not be able to handle it, it's be ridiculous. And then some people that can't handle it, it just come natural.
Yeah.
So That's one thing.
I think that kind of leads to the debate about the 11 plus exam too, because,
Yeah.
you know, memory is one thing, but application is another.
Another thing, yeah.
So,
And being under pressure when you
Yeah.
try to use your memory is another thing too.
yeah.
So
Okay. Well, I'm going to put something on the table here, and I may possibly regret this one when I get home. It's kind of a double-edged sword. It's something that I like about myself, but then something that can become a real pain in the ass. I think I've got OCD.
bad. Bad. Let me think. Bad.
Yeah, my mind, I don't function well in clutter or untidiness, and I run my home like an army base, and I'm sure that I drive my husband and my children
Oh my gosh.
totally up a wall with it. And I think it's good because I think it's good in one sense that it is good to keep things in order.
I don't
But-
think you only got. I don't think it's. I think that's a woman thing, you know. I think that.
No, it's not all. Not all my friends are like that. We gonna deal with the woman man thing.
Right.
Oh
right.
God! Tell he asked you for this topic. Oh my gosh!
Pause, boy.
But we can deal with that.
That is a serious
but
topic,
my
yeah.
my OCD, I think, goes into like I would like to be able to ignore things out of place sometimes, and I just can't. And where it has an effect on me or my life will be things like if I have to go to meetings, I just if there's certain things in the house that are not done, I have been late. Unnecessarily so, because I will turn back and I'd be like, okay, wait, the bed hasn't been made, this hasn't been put in place, I really can't stand clutter. My mind goes into jelly when I'm in clutter. So I would like to I don't necessarily change it, but just tone it down. That made you a little happier, wouldn't it,
Yeah,
hun?
very much so. Let me tell you one of the people's. If you put down yourself and she ain't realize it's supposed to be in that position, it gone. You lost
And
yourself.
then I can't remember where I put it.
So yeah.
I won't lose you, honey.
Yeah.
I'll try hard. All right. So we kind of winding down on some of the questions. Have we missed anything?
What does it mean? What does love at first sight mean to you?
I loved you at first sight. Aww.
Woo.
Love at first sight. You know, I think that you do meet people and there are things about the person that draw you to them in a way that doesn't happen with other people. But I'm going to be 40 next year, and I've dated a few, and I think that the word love at first sight is lust.
Exactly. I was not gonna
Most
say,
of the time, I think it's lust.
It's just lust.
Yeah, and I think that our human biology wired us that way for a very good reason, to procreate. But I believe that there's a danger in it, in that we have to know it when we're in it. We have to recognize it. It's the same thing when we're talking about being our authentic self. When we meet people, that lust at first sight can be very blinding. And the whole butterflies in your stomach for like the first few months that you see the person, and then you completely put your life on hold, and it's everything about the person. And we've all done it. We did it. We've all done it.
That's
So
true.
I believe in more of lust at first sight.
And I agree with that too. I don't think that you can actually love a person by seeing them for the first time.
No.
Right? Because there's so much dynamics in terms of that person's, their energies and everything. Unless you have this capability of reading energies to the fullest at first sight, then you can then get that could be love at first sight. Right? But I don't think no one could read a person's energy like that. So, and maybe we all read energies, but we can't be exactly accurate in terms of everything about that person at first.
And most of us come with this crap load of baggage
Baggage. Yep.
that you got to sift through. So, But it feels nice though. It really feels nice. And it's probably that thing that we crave. Yeah. And it's one of the things that makes a relationship, a long-term relationship, very difficult because that feeling does not last.
Doesn't last.
Does not last.
It's called that the honeymoon stage.
Honeymoon stage.
When
it
that
doesn't
honeymoon
last.
stage over is like then you actually not got to recreate.
You wake up and it's like, who's you?
Yeah.
I met you. And that's when the love really starts because you got to dig. You know, one of our really close friends, when we were about to get married, and he came to the house once, and he's like, just remember, keep finding the love. And when Fabian and I have had really tough times, that's something that I've had to tell myself, keep finding the love. Because it's not what it was when you first started, and you now have to grow with the person. You gotta now appreciate all their complexity.
Yeah. And one thing that we see him friend always used to mention, which I will say this to here now too, because it's something that can help a lot of people, is that you can't expect everything to be perfect in the beginning of the relationship. And don't try to cram everything within the first year, 2 years.
It's easier said than done,
It
though.
takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time.
Oh, we got some juicy stuff to talk about. We are winding down. Oh, when are you most and least productive?
Man,
When are you most productive and when are you least productive?
Okay. Most productive. I'm most productive when I got a project to work on and I passionate about it.
Okay.
When I really, really most productive when I have a project that I just want to see the end result.
Okay.
Right?
What about like environment wise?
And it gotta be a cool environment. I'm a person that hate the sun. Hate working in the sun. So when I go to work in the sun, I'd be very miserable and I'm less productive when I go to work in the sun. But once I work in a cool environment, yeah, that's when I'm most productive.
Okay. That's interesting to know about a partner too, because that affects decisions. So another big secret, I know this is going to happen on a podcast like this. I'm not a morning person. I think I used to be. I don't know if this is mummyhood that's knocked it out of me. I'm not sure. But I have progressively over the years found very early morning a huge challenge for me. Fabian would tell you I'm not a big coffee person, but I must have 1 cup in the morning. Just one. Or I am like
she's the most miserable woman for the
a
rest of the day.
gremlin getting out of bed, right? So I don't enjoy getting up, but it's a catch-22 because if we want to kind of broaden and talk about the fitness side of things, I also genuinely believe that the morning time is the best time to get an exercise. And this is not even just like, we could debate about the physiology of the body and all this kind of stuff, but I'm looking from a very practical perspective. When there's certain things that when there's certain habits that you want to put into your lifestyle. So it might be that you want to get up in the morning and watch one short motivational video. You might want to get in 10 minutes of meditation, and then you want to get in like a good half hour, 45 minutes of exercise. It's generally easier to get those type of things done in the morning when most of the household is quiet or sleeping. And so it's I think right now in my life that's been a really difficult one to get around, especially with the whole lockdown thing. But I'm not very good early in the morning.
I totally opposite of her because
he's ridiculous.
I always was taught that the early bird gets the best worm. So when you start your day early, you achieve more from it than if you start your day late. So that's one of the reasons that I love to do stuff early.
But nighttime people might disagree with you though, because there are some people who are real night owls.
Right. So that was it. Then you got the total
because I'm
opposite.
not that either.
Right.
Funny enough, I'm not a big night owl.
But you see, that's the thing. Is it early, or
late? Right. Well, what I used to do when I was studying, I would go to sleep early. And when I mean early, I mean like by 7. I would get in from university, get some to eat, and go to bed. And then I would get back up real early at like 2, 3 in the morning, which I guess some people consider like a nighttime late owl thing. And that used to work for me.
Right, no matter what time I go sleep,
Up
up
like a rooster.
before 5:30 in the morning, because my body just naturally adapts to the environment. I guess if we had to change countries, you know, the time
Time difference.
or the sun may rise differently.
You would just adapt and start getting back up at 5:30 all over again. That would make no difference. You want to tell them why you started why you're an early bird though? Tell them you really train you to be an early bird.
From the young age, my mom used to have us dealing with animals. So on the mornings we used to have to get up and feed the animals, and like when we, especially the chickens, when we had to go and slaughter the chickens and stuff, we used to go to get up for 3 o'clock in the morning to go and catch the fowls.
Boy, them chickens would have had a dead.
Yeah, so that was years of having to do that. I mean, it don't get twisted, you know. And then times it was like here as a young boy getting up to go and catch chickens at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like cold, I want to sleep. You know what I mean? But my mom trained us early to be able to deal with life itself. Right?
It's good stuff.
And made something out to whatever little bit we have.
Good stuff. Babes, I think we only maybe have like 3 or 4 more questions left. Okay. Yes, I've seen one here. Do you think that a person's relationship with either their mother or their father is something that when you're first meeting someone, you should take into consideration?
Yeah, I think that parents could cause different effects on the relationship. Being how the person that you're dating or courting is their relationship with their parents. Because like sometimes, like for me, I can be honest with you, when I was growing up, I didn't ever realize it, right? I didn't realize it is that when I was searching for someone, I was searching for someone that my mother would approve of.
Right? Yeah.
And not necessarily what I would approve of.
Right.
But I was mainly searching for someone that my mom would approve of.
Got ya.
Because at the end of the day, I got to carry home this person to mom. And you want to impress mom. You understand? So, yeah, I think that that it can affect a relationship, because if you are the person that actually meant good for each other, then the influence from the parents can change how that ends up.
And we could also look at and it could work for both genders, how a man treats his mother.
Yeah.
I think could be quite significant
how he treats his
to how he's going to treat you. I've seen it in my life, and I've seen it in other people's lives. And then the reverse. Because ladies, I find we going down this male-female topic, but anyway, I find that we tend to put a lot of emphasis on how a man treats his mother, but equally the respect that a woman may or may not have for her father. And we do live in the Caribbean where there have been a lot of cases of absentee dads, and not saying that women cannot or have not tried their best to raise kids on their own, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's created a balanced person. So for me, I had my own challenges with my dad and my stepdad, and I had to work through a lot of those things as I've gotten older. So because I realized that, I actually didn't grow up around a lot of men. I grew up mostly around women. I had a lot of aunts, and a lot of them were single moms. So I had to kind of, I want to say, force myself to be around guys, like to understand guys better that way from hanging out with them. And, so it can be, I think it's a big question, a big observation and a question. Yeah. All right. And I think we are almost to the end. Do we have any more juicy questions in here? Yes, let's end it on an abundance note. 2 more questions, and this is just like pure daydreaming now. Pure daydreaming. If you won the lotto, wait, let me change that question. I was watching Oprah's masterclasses when I was doing all my painting in lockdown. And I watched one with Alicia Keys. She's one of my favorite entertainers. And she said that she has stopped saying if. That 2-letter word is such a big word. So I'm not saying if I'm saying when you win the lottery, what is the first thing that you're going to buy?
I'm going to buy. There's only one thing you can buy?
The first thing, honey. The first thing.
First thing I'm going to buy is a Kawasaki EX2.
Oh gosh! Oh Lord! Look at problems. Look at trouble.
Yes, that is what I'm gonna buy.
He tapped the road. A Kawasaki. Not the convertible BMW.
No, that's second.
That's second.
Second.
All right. So I think I would buy a luxury treehouse.
Luxury treehouse.
I know you're gonna think that's crazy, right?
Luxury treehouse.
Yes. So I found the house, and I'm gonna show it to you guys. And everybody that I've shown it to is like, yes, this is amazing. It's a home that they've built by a river, and it's luxury. Like it's made with bamboo, but done so beautifully. And like they have rooms that just have like hammocks and like a beautiful kitchen garden on the outside, and then a stream is like just a river is just literally right in the middle of the garden. I would just disappear, forget the world. So that'd be the first thing that I would buy.
Nice.
Last question. Outside of Barbados, where else? You could give me like 2 or 3 places. Where else could you see yourself maybe living or spending significant time?
For sure, St. Lucia.
Ooh. What do you like about St. Lucia?
I love the people.
Okay.
I love the
They got to all the Lucians out there.
Lucian family. Mm-hmm. I love the family-oriented space where from the time you go to St. Lucia, everybody, your brother, your family, draw you in. You know what I mean? And I like the fact that they're embraced by culture over there tremendously.
Yeah. People, I have to tell you that
white world.
Another subject again. I should be right. You know what? I should have got my pen and just started writing all these things down. Yeah, I would agree with that. The first time we went to St. Lucia, Fabian tried to not warn me. That's not the right word. Tried to explain to me what it was going to be like over there, and it was amazing. Lucians just love bike life.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there's not a sect of St. Lucians that probably don't. But on a whole, the drivers feel a lot more respectful of you on the road. The things that I see happening both ways on the road in Barbados, it feels a little different there. So I could understand that now that I've been there with you. Yeah. So St. Lucia, where else?
Would be St. Vincent.
Hometown. Your family's hometown. I don't know if you guys know that, but Fabian is Vinci really.
Vinci Beijing.
Yeah.
So that would be my another place to call home.
Okay.
Right. And as well, the same way thing there as well is the culture is so different.
What about big city places though? I mean,
I don't really like big cities.
You're not a big city person.
I'm not a big city person.
Right.
I've traveled to certain different big cities, but it don't really draw me to it. Because everything is just so space out.
Right.
You don't really get to know persons that are there in big cities.
You're kind of like a number.
Yeah, it's just like another number in those places, right? So I prefer the Caribbean, honestly.
Okay.
I can't call the rest because I got a few other places that I wanted to travel to.
Right.
In the Caribbean, then to determine if that would be a choice as well. Like I never got to experience Dominica, which is some place I want to experience.
And that was actually what I was gonna say. Dominica, I haven't been since the hurricane, but Dominica just melted my heart. Dominica is such a beautiful country and spoiled. I mean, the first time I was with a friend of mine, and he took me. He had a farm, and it was like kind of right up in the hills and stuff. So we went on the farm, and he disappeared to find something, to cut something down. And I was looking down doing something, and then I looked up, and it hit me. I was like, whoa, there's a lot of bush. There's This is real bush. But I love Dominica. And when I saw the destruction of the hurricane, I cried as if it was my own country that got mashed up. Dominica has a place in my heart. Yeah. And I want to say I've never been, but I really would love to explore Brazil. Yeah. I feel like Brazil is probably one of the few countries that looks like a true melting pot of cultures. I'm very, very drawn to understanding Amerindian culture. So the whole, Amazonian tribes and, just I would just go and trek and hike all over Brazil if I could. So that's it. So that's our top question. So maybe, if you're out about to ask a lady or a fella out on a date, don't just ask them, where did you go to school? Who are your parents?
How are you raised?
How old are you?
You know that one of the worst questions you can ask a woman.
God. Ask them some interesting questions. Get to know them. You'd be surprised. So, next week, same time, same place.
Same time, same place.
Be Social's podcast studio.
Yep.
And we're going to come with some juicier topics as we progress.
So.
Out of here.
Yeah.